Hey everyone. Good morning. Good morning. TGIF. Hello, little lady back there. How are
Hello.
you? Wonderful. I'm loving your red hair. Are you rocking that like for the week or for the holiday?
Yes, I'm having a bad hair month.
Oh, okay. Red hair week. Well, welcome everyone to Forward Friday. How we move forward and navigate through life matters. We're here every Friday at 9:30 a.m. and we chat about all sorts of different things and whatever comes up, but leadership, spirituality, mindset, news, career, life balance. Today we are talking about money mindset. We have Victoria Sexton here. Thank you so much for joining us. She is in our Fave Biz Society group, which she loves so much. Victoria, would you like to just do a quick introduction of yourself before my wonderful co-hosts and I do our top of mind?
Yeah, that would be great. Hey, everybody, I'm Victoria Sexton. I'm a financial coach, and as in a nutshell, I help women with their money, and I help them in several ways. Just to give you like a few second background on me, I've always worked in finance, and for a while there was a financial advisor, and so I even get into the nerdy nitty gritty, and I really feel like it's my calling to help women with their money with whatever they need, whether that's on the saving side, how do we make more money, how do we invest our money. And so that's what I'm all about, is empowering women and helping them find actionable steps that they can make that's going to make the transformational difference in their life.
Woohoo! I love that. I'm starting to kind of get a little bit into that. I've never paid any attention to the financial world, like nothing, and I'm like kind of creeping into it a little bit. So I'm really excited to hear you today. So just if you're live with us and you want to comment and ask questions or just say hey, you just have to go to streamyard.com/Facebook and then you can chat with us because we'll pop up your comments here on the screen. So please do that. Talk to us and chat with us. So my lovely co-hosts, Wonderful and Dani, hello.
Hello.
Happy Friday, everybody.
We missed you last week. Wonderful. We hope you're feeling better. So what do you have on top of mind today?
So I really love that it's December and we're going into the new year and we're talking about money, money, money. Because the truth of the matter is entrepreneurship lies in the money. That's a measurement of success in business is money, right? If you're not making money and you have a business, you're in two phases. Either you're in the development phase or you're in a hobby. So based on that, I think what's even more important is a top of mind for me today, Friday, is to be diligent with our numbers, right? Even if we're making $5, like at least know that where that's going, how it's moving, why it's in your space, and how you were able to create it. That was a hard lesson for me as a young entrepreneur in my 20s. You know, in your 20, you think like money grows on trees, you don't need sleep, like you could just run life on coffee and beans, right? I learned really early being an entrepreneur that if we do not pay attention to our money on a regular basis, like every Friday, it is going, it just disappears, or you're like, what happened? And it is a tough conversation for a lot of women entrepreneurs, but it's a necessary conversation, even with just yourself. Like, it doesn't have to be with anybody else, but to be really honest with yourself about it and then find experts. Like, I'm dyslexic with numbers, y'all. That's not even cool or fun. But with Victoria being in our breathing space, it makes it easier for people like myself to know that what I do for a living is a gift to the world, and also can have value in that exchange of energy with money, right? So
Ooh,
that is the top of mind for me.
awesome. It reminds me of that book I always used to read Logan when he was a little, Who Moved My Cheese,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my
I mean,
gosh, yeah.
there's an adult book too, right? But like, I
Yeah.
always remember reading that book to him when he was little. It was his favorite book, and then I read it to the girls. But like, yeah, like if you don't like, the money just disappears, right? If you don't keep an eye on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dani, what's
That's
going
great.
on in your world today?
Well, thinking about money and life balance and spirituality and connection, and those are all a lot of things that we think about. I think that, having gone through COVID or the pandemic for as long as we have, I think our values have changed. And I know for myself,
Mhm.
I'm saving more money because I realize what's most important is people being together, and that's basically free unless you have to fly somewhere. But my immediate family's here. I spent a lot less on Christmas the last couple of years, and we had just as much fun. And so I think it's a great time for a financial coach to come in, especially in 2022 with all the, we don't know what's coming next, obviously. But I really think in America our priorities, worldview, values have changed. And I think, and especially if we consider all the people that are suffering because of their lost businesses and stuff. So um, I think it's a great time for someone to come alongside us to help us with this issue, and because I think it's a good time to reevaluate everything, really. So thank you, Victoria, for being here. And I know that didn't you have like a recent book or something, or a workbook,
Yes.
yeah? Is it
Yes.
published or?
Yes, it's published. You can get it on Amazon or on my website, and it's called Effortless Money: How to Align Your Wealth and Your Woo. So it has that spirituality component that you were just talking about as well.
Yay, let's hear more.
Yeah, it's our money isn't just like a separate thing. It's all connected with our spirituality and the rest of our lives and the energy we're putting out into the universe and all of that.
Great. And Melissa, did you have a time for top of mind? I'm sorry, I jumped right to Victoria because I realized, oh my goodness, she has a book. That's so cool.
No, I think I've said enough. Let's
Oh,
move
okay,
on
good.
to
Go ahead.
Victoria.
Yes,
Who
go
else
Victoria.
get in deep with Victoria.
So I'm always super curious.
Yeah.
Like, because money it's like, remember, I mean, I'm going to age myself by saying this, but remember when there was that rule at the dinner table, don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics. That's kind of how I feel about money. And then you add the gender role to it with being a woman. And culturally, that's just not something that, what the part of the role. Right. And so I'm curious how you got into money. Like, what did it just land in your lap, or did you seek it out, or was it just, by training? How did that work out for you?
I kind of think I was predestined to go into this because my mother was a mathematician. My dad was a financial consultant, and my dad was traveling. Yeah. So like, I'm very nerdy. Right. And my dad traveled a lot when I was growing up, and I really he kind of didn't know how to be a dad of a girl. And so I had to meet him where he was. And where he was he was a businessman, and he loved investing in the stock market, and he loved reading the Wall Street Journal. And so I did those things with him, and he taught me as a teenager how to invest in the stock market. And I didn't know this wasn't normal. I didn't know this was like a thing that people don't do. And so I was 18 years old, and I saved up all my money from working the Christmas break. And when I was a senior in high school, I worked the Christmas break at an Italian deli near my parents' house. And I worked like a dog. I worked like 12 hours a day, and I saved up all my money, and I had like $2,000 or something. And I opened up a Roth IRA. Okay, I was 18. And I'm talking with the other employees at the deli, and I'm realizing like everybody thinks I'm bonkers. Nobody gets what I'm doing at all. So yeah, so I realized that this was not like a regular thing that people were doing, but and of course I ended up going into finance and spent a bunch of time in the corporate world and then time as a financial advisor, which I loved. But what I found was I really felt like women needed a they needed deeper help with their money. Like they needed more from me than an hour that I'm going to spend with them talking to them about which mutual fund we're going to pick. And so it just really felt called. Like that's the only word I can describe. I really felt called. I felt it was my time to help women on a deeper level with their money, and that's what I'm doing now. And I absolutely like I can't even tell you how much I love it. Like I was like, I get to do this. This is my job. It's great. So yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it is yeah, and I didn't realize that at the time that I had such an unusual childhood, but now that I see like what investing, what all that time spent saving can do,
Mhm.
it's also helpful for me as a mom. So I have 2 boys. It's helpful for me because I need to teach them now.
Yeah.
It's my turn.
Well, I follow you on Instagram. Victoria and I have never met, and we belong to the same group. And I see her talking, but we never really had a. And I follow you on Instagram, and I'm like, okay, she's kind of really fun. How's that possible? She's into money. I know that's a terrible thing to say, but I was like, she's kind of fun and she's into money. I really need to know this.
Well, I mean, when I was a financial advisor, I would show up with, like, you can imagine there's like, it's mostly men, right? I'd show up
Yeah.
to a big, meeting or whatever. It's mostly men. I show up in a hot pink blazer, right? And they're like, who is this unicorn? They just did not know what to do with me. It was hilarious.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
Good morning, Mary. I have your necklace on.
Oh,
Let us know if you have any questions for Victoria.
Well, one of the things I just want to share, so I've been in business like 6 years, and at the beginning, because I did training in 4 different levels of hypnotherapy, I was actually, spending more money on training than I was making at the beginning, but now I'm making more money than I'm spending in my business, which is great. And so my husband kind of supported me parts of my business expenses for those first few years. And now I have my own business checking, my own business credit card, and I feel so empowered to have my own money, to make my own money and spend my own money, which is not a reflection on anything about my husband or my life or our marriage, but he is an accountant. So he does appreciate it as well. And so I guess what I really want to mention is just how empowered I feel having my own money.
Mm.
And I'm sure that you help women feel empowered about their money. So thank you very much.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
thank you
great.
for
I love
doing
that.
that, because that's, I'm sure, part of it. And Mary has an interesting question here. Let me just read it. What tax saving tips should we consider before 12/31? I just looked at my recent paycheck stub to see my total earnings, and I am planning accordingly. That's an interesting question.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not a tax person. So I actually outsource that because that's not my thing that I enjoy doing the most. But I do know there are a couple things that you can do to help with taxes. So Mary, I believe she's self-employed and she has other gigs too, if I'm correct. So putting away money in a pre-tax account like an IRA can help you with your taxes. And also if you're self-employed, because I feel like a lot of the people that are watching this are also self-employed, there's a vehicle called a SEP, a SEP IRA, that is only for people who are self-employed. And so you can put up to 25% of your income. I think it's 25% or $56,000 a year. but I'm not positive on that, away in this pre-tax account. And then, but you have to have an understanding that when you take that out on the back end, you have to pay taxes. So the government's going to get theirs at some point in time. But that's something that you can do. But I would also say have a really amazing tax person. And sometimes it's hard to find. And I do know a lady in Issaquah who did our taxes who is amazing. So if you need a referral. But yeah, that's what I think. I think you need to find someone who specializes in taxes for whatever you do.
And I think this is, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say there's too much to keep up with in terms of taxes.
Yeah. And I think that's a great segue because I'm always reeling it back into entrepreneurship because that's my area of expertise. And thing I love that because as entrepreneurs, we really need to understand that there's not everybody that says I'm a financial advisor knows everything, because you have to have a different person that just understands small business, and you have to have that person, right? And then I love that instead of trying to answer the question, you're really clear about tax preparers are completely different from bookkeepers, completely different from accountants. And as a business owner, you're kind of responsible for all of that. And you have to know what that's creating. And I know that from personal experience because I got audited really early. You're 25 years old and the IRS comes knocking on your door because your accountant that you trusted, an adult, kind of screwed you. You learn really early on that it's really important to know just because somebody says they're good with money doesn't mean they know what they're doing for a small business and what are write-offs, what are actually exemptions, what, all of the little red tape that goes into having a business in the house, having a brick and mortar, having 2 separate LLCs, having a larger umbrella, and wholesale, retail tax, employee tax, quarterly tax, annual. Okay, I'm not boring. I'm sorry. I'm just going too far now. But I love that you are very clear about that and that you have an experience corporately, personally, and upbringing with money, because I think that speaks volumes for people who are building a business and trying to figure out what monies go to the government and what monies I keep. Right. So.
Yeah. And I think too, that as you level up as a business,
our sound went out real quick.
You should
or something that.
You went robotic on us.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Good.
You're back.
Yeah.
Something happened. I was just saying that as you level up your business, you should also level up your team of experts that are helping you too, because where you're starting today, a couple of years from now, you could be in a different place financially, and you may need someone who has a different expertise. So I like to keep that in mind, and I call the experts who help me, like accountants and things like that, my team. So,
absolutely.
because I hand select them, right? I pick them to help me. So yeah, I think that's something else too, as an entrepreneur, is that you need to not be afraid to let someone go. And it doesn't mean that you didn't love them and appreciate them, but also if you want to be in a different place, sometimes you need to hire a different person.
Yeah, so great advice. And so, Victoria, what does 2022 look like for you? How do you want to help your clients? What kind of expertise are you planning on revealing to the world?
Yeah, so I have a couple really fun things coming up for 2022. Several times a year, I offer my Investing 101 class, and it's specifically for women who want to learn how to invest in the stock market. I also have a group coaching program called The Rich Life, where we meet a couple times a month And we talk about strategies that wealthy people are using that regular people can use too, but we don't know what they are. So we're incorporating all of that information every month into our group, The Rich Life. And I have some fun workshops. Like in January, my first workshop for the year is Revenue Stream Machine, where I teach people how to develop revenue streams in their life, in their business, and they'll walk away with a couple different ideas for each person.
But boom, that's some good stuff right there, y'all. I mean, I think that's brilliant.
Isn't that a great name? I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything. I mean, all of it is, because I noticed that too, like we have to have sort of, I hate the word catchy, because it's like, really nothing has to be catchy. We should just trust that when people say that they're doing what they're doing, it's what they're going to do. But I love that, The Rich Life, because I think, again, kind of like, well, I don't know. Am I still going to be a good person if I'm rich? Yes, I am. Okay.
Yes.
No doubt.
Even better, because you could say, and I'm going to give you some, and I'm going to give
right? I feel like Oprah. You get one.
Right?
You get one.
Well, all these studies have shown that when women have access to more money, we positively impact our community. And it's not just we want more money because we want more money, but we give more money to local charities. We help our own families in our community. So I think of it that way too, that it's okay to want to be wealthy, to want more money. It's not greedy to be that way, because if we have access to more funds, we can help more people.
Amen. It's a great tagline.
Yeah,
more money, more help.
Yeah. It seems to me like you're so good with money, but you're also very creative. I mean, to write a book and then to have these groups and different seminars and webinars and all that, like, good job for being both and being really relatable.
Yeah. Like I said, I was following her on Instagram. I mean, I'm not being, saying stuff. I am though, but sometimes money people aren't as fun to follow, because it's kind of like, and then when I think that version of you added on to your expertise makes you very appealing to the masses of women building empires in the world, because, rigidness isn't our forte. Women in general just like to have fun anyways. So I love that.
Well, and making money should be fun, right? I think it's so much fun to make money. I really do. And the Dave Ramsey's of the world, who I can't stand, they shame and blame people about their money. And it's like, you're not going to get wealthy. You're not going to change your dynamic with money by shaming yourself. So let's just not do that.
That's funny. Somebody else made a comment about a Dave Ramsey, because what was I reading? I was reading about, I can't remember. It was a money book, and they were like, we all should be millionaires. This one right here.
I love that book.
Oh yeah.
She was like, okay, if you want to feel bad about making millions, go follow Dave Ramsey. And I was laughing.
Totally.
Oh, that's really, because it is very shaming to like admit to someone, oh, I'm in this much debt, right? But really, she's saying you should look at that debt and be just get real with yourself. Why was that debt even there? What do you need to? Then you go see my friend Dani and work that all out emotionally, right?
Right.
That's really what it's about. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's such sound advice, that it's really you. It's not the money that's making you feel that way. You've got some things you've got to go through and deal with. And
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just, I can't even remember what I was going to say now.
Oh,
it slipped my brain.
Sorry. I'm curious though, because you said you have 2 boys. So what is your advice for children? How do we teach because I have younger ones too. How are we teaching our children about money right now?
Well,
How should we?
That's a really great question. So I have a 19-year-old stepson, and then my son is 11. And with my 11-year-old, so I live in California. There's a lot of kooky stuff happening in California. So I just pulled him out of school, and we're homeschooling. So part of our curriculum, because I told him, like, he really loves learning. So I said, what do you want to learn about? And he goes, Mom, I want to learn about money. Like, how does that work? And
yes.
yeah, I was like, yes, let's talk about money. And so some of the things that we talk about are, like, he was asking me about credit cards. He was asking me so I was talking with a friend about, like, whole life insurance with the cash value, which I could talk about that another time, because that's like, that's like an expert ninja move. So we'll talk about that another time. But I was talking with him about all these things, and he was like, well, how does that work? Can we talk about that? Because I want to retire early. Like, okay. I think it has to be different and individualized for each child, because the 19-year-old isn't, like, he's in his own space, and I don't want to say that he doesn't, like, get what we're trying to teach him, but everyone learns in their own time. And so I think that you need to really, first and foremost, think about your child and what is going to resonate with them. For some people, it's like making saving like a game for them and doing the different piggy banks and things like that. I take my son to the recycling center, and he gets to keep the cash. So if we go anywhere and there's like an aluminum can left on the table, he'll be like, Mom, put this in your purse. Because he's like, I can get 5 cents for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Yeah. The earlier, the better, right? I have 3 adult children who we did a money thing, because being an entrepreneur really young, you really learn about what money looks like, when that is how you pay your bills, how you eat, the whole thing. You don't get a 401k. There's no insurance, health insurance. You got to pay everything out of pocket. And then you're raising kids. Like, you really get to understand how money functions in a way for you or against you. And I'm proud to say that I have 3 young adults who literally, if they had to, could take care of me right now. It's because they understood sort of that value pretty early on and learned how it not to be a fearful kind of subject. And they have a respect for it, and they grow it in their own fashion. And they're very, very well, what's that, learned. That's it. They're very well learned when it comes to money, unlike their mother, but that's all right. About Victoria.
I love that Mary's commenting today. She said, I set up Roth accounts for my kids when they turned 18. I also opened up trading accounts when they were younger, so birthday money could be invested into SP and 500 index funds. I don't even know what that is. Potential ways for them to learn about investing. So isn't that great? She's that. Mary, good job. Kudos.
Mary's so awesome. We love you, Mary.
That's great.
Right. Good
Anything
stuff.
else you would add to that list that Mary's been able to figure out, Victoria?
I mean, you can set up accounts for your kids. I think that just in my experience, like, thinking about me being a stubborn kid and then my kids being stubborn kids, they learn by experience. And so helping them have an experience in a safe place is always helpful. Like, my 19-year-old stepson pays rent to us, and he does not like it, and he doesn't get it, and it's like a practice run for him. So I'm like, if I'm your landlord, you need to pay on the 1st, and then it's the 5th that I'm asking him about the money. It's not about the money. It's like $200 a month, But what I'm asking him is to be responsible and to know where his money is going, and to have an understanding of, hey, I have this much money in my account and I have these bills I need to pay. How am I going to pay those and pay for gas and everything else? So I think that if you set up an experience for your kids, that is a way you can fast track their learning as well.
Yeah, that's so great. Good. Wow.
Thank you.
Even Mary, having set that up for their kids, you know, at some point you turn it over to them and it's their responsibility to watch, and, you know, but what a great gift. And then you're with your stepson, you're giving him the gift of responsibility. Wow, such great advice today.
Yay, I know, and our time's up. I told her come on. I'm like, this goes like so fast. It's just like it's fastest half hour ever. So thank you so much for joining us, Victoria. And we put in the comments how you can follow her on Instagram. And she's also on Facebook, she said, and her website, victoriasexton.com. So thank you so much, ladies. Next week is Christmas Eve.
Holy moly.
I do not have a guest lined up. So we may surprise you all next week with a guest, but if not, then we will just be chatting about holiday memories or holiday vacations or whatever comes up. But if you want to be a guest on the show, the info is in here on the chat. So come share your story, your life, your gift with the world, and come be a guest on our show.
Woohoo.
Bye, ladies.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you so much.
Victoria.
Have a great weekend.